Welcome back, our viewers. Remember, we are talking about dealing with the wounds of the heart. This is the radical generation where we bring the best of the best. Topics that are so dear to your heart. Topics that can cause an impediment to your growth or to your process of self-actualizing. This is exactly what you're dealing with. And this is no exceptional. We're coming to you from Peak Rest Homes. It is only 100 meters from the Nakuru CBD. Affordable prices, very serene area. You can use it as an office, you can use it as a getaway. Please kindly get in touch with them and you will thank me for letting you know this information. But I want to go back to our guest because we are really learning a lot. But what I'd like to know, Director Regina, when did this realization that I have been wounded and until I get to deal with this past, it is still haunting my future? When did you get that? Can I call it an epiphany or an awakeness? Ukajua, until I deal with that little girl who was wounded, what I'm attracting is what I don't like. Okay. What was it, an awakening, or what really happened? Or how did the process begin?
Okay. I think even throughout, maybe before I answer that, there's a question you had asked before about what wounds, what are these causes that caused my wounds?
Yes.
And I was going there. One of them was death of my father, being a breadwinner and all that, and also character development, and there was issue of abuse, abuse and all that. So there was the issue also of gender-based violence.
Gender-based violence happened in marriage?
Yes.
Okay.
So when I got married, I got my first child. Then what do I call him now? A baby daddy.
Yeah.
This is not my husband.
Yeah, let's just call him a baby daddy.
Yeah, yes. So that started a series of abuse.
Okay.
Because abuse does not come just once, like gender-based violence. They start abusing you emotionally, psychologically, through very abusive words and very demeaning words. Before somebody
comes
physical abuse, they abuse you a lot.
So it's systematic.
Very systematic. Everybody who has been beaten physically, they have already lost everything else. Ilianza mahali, and they have abused them, they have body shamed them, they have done all manner of things, So it got to a point where I was actually physically abused. Somebody actually hit me.
Wow.
Alininyonga. I hope I don't victimize him because that's not my point here. But alininyonga, and that was my breaking point. Like hiyo ilikuwa boundary yangu.
Ukajua this has come too far.
Vile unataka lakini kunigonga hapana. Even my own father has never beaten me. Who are you? So he actually nyongad me that day, and it was bad. And after 2 weeks I said, this is it. I am gone. That is where I left. Wow. And there's another now wound of separation and divorce.
That's another wound.
Exactly.
On top of everything you have not dealt with.
So separating is not easy. When people because we get judged a lot. When people are in marriages, people who are in good marriages or in relationships, they actually blame the people who are getting out of marriage. But you don't know the shoe that these people are wearing.
That is true. That is true.
You don't know the shoe, and I wouldn't blame anybody getting out of whatever decisions they are making because they understand whatever situations they are in. So I left, but also that one was extremely painful.
Because you love this person. Will we say it's love, or you are in need of something? You are a dependent person.
I was in love with that person. I don't know if it was love or needed, but I felt a
connection.
Yes, a connection with that person. But after going through all these things for like 3 years of abuse every day of my life, unakata hiyo kamba bwana. That ka emotion enda kikatika mahali katakatikia penye tunasemanga strings attached, no longer attached. But it still hurts you because you have wasted 3 years of your life. You feel used, you feel all these things. You have a child now who will become fatherless. You are dependent in a sort of way financially and everything. Divorces, I think, are the worst kinds of pains and separation that anybody can ever go through.
And we don't make them any easy because we vilify those people who go through them.
Exactly. So it is not easy for somebody to decide to get out of their marriage.
Wow.
And to leave what they thought that this is gonna work for the rest of their lives.
Nobody gets into a relationship with the idea and kuacha in 3 years.
Hakuna.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
So I started a life of single parenting, which also has not been easy. It has not been easy.
Right.
Being a single parent is extremely hard.
I know that.
It's extremely hard.
I've been raised by a single mom.
Oh yes, it is extremely hard because then now you have entered into another season that is very, very tough, you know. But in all this, everybody knows there's, as you're going through these things, you definitely know there's something very wrong with your life. You definitely know there's something wrong at every stage.
But you're still moving forward, but you know there's something wrong. You
have to. Do you have the solutions? No. So everybody toughens out and survives. I can do this, I can do this.
But you're bleeding.
Life. You're broken and wounds, but we tend to kufunika vidonda ndio tuweze kuendelea in life. You just like push them and push them.
It's more of a coping mechanism.
Yes,
we
exactly.
repress these emotions and these thoughts just to continue working, continue pushing.
It depends now with different people because having dealt with a lot of people who are vulnerable, who are wounded, I've realized there are so many ways now that we cope. We cope with the wounds. Or we manifest the wounds in one way or the other.
Yeah.
Because once the wounds are there, then, I don't know if I go there first. I've actually remembered I had other wounds.
Apart from the 12-year-old, apart from the death of your daddy, the separation, those are 3 wounds.
Right.
There were other many.
Exactly. Especially, let me mention this, which is very important because there are so many others, like taking care of a person who is ill. I took care of my sister before she died. It was crazy and
she had a terminal disease.
Yes. So it was painful and, you know, very tedious. And those people who are taking care of sick people, terminally ill, with disability, it's not easy. It's not easy. And they face a lot of victimization from the community and nobody understands those people. And also, once I actually understood how broken I am, I went to the church.
You went to the church?
Yes.
To the house of our Father.
To the house of our Father.
Glory.
Thinking that it's where people should go to get healed. You know?
And I think it's where we should go to get healed.
I think it should be, but is it? Is it? That's a good question. Is it?
Is it?
That's another long story. What I went through in the religious circles, oh my God. That's what's made me a preacher today or a teacher of the word.
So the church added another wound.
Very, very deep wounds.
The very church that was supposed to help you heal added another wound instead of helping you heal.
Yes.
That is religion.
Religion.
Yes.
That is religion because I joined, because I was brought up in Catholic Church, being a very staunch Catholic myself. Ningekuhubiria uingie katho uchukue rosari uanze kuomba.
Sakramenti nipewe pale na baba mtakatifu.
Yes. But now after being preached to and I understood, okay, having understood, sikuwa najua hizi mambo mingi za kuokoka ni nini. Katho watujuangi, unasikianga tu watu I'm saved. Washindo he saved ni nini.
What exactly is this?
I'm born again. What are those? Yeah. So mtu anasema Bwana asifiwe. You know, it didn't make sense.
So kaingia hapo na the wounds.
Exactly. So I learned, because having gotten married at that particular, things were just happening in between everything else. And I went to PCA church and I was baptized and I went through the series of things that I can be accepted in the church, and I did everything that needed to be done and I was accepted in the church, just like Catholic Church. I have to do a series of things, get baptized, get, I don't know, confirmation and stuff like that. So I went through those things, and afterwards, somebody preached salvation and I thought, this is it. So maybe the church, finding God, would be able to heal my wounds. But what I went through the religious churches, and it's many churches, because I went through PCA and I started the projects there under PCA.
The projects are for the vulnerable.
Exactly.
All right.
That is when I started the programs under PCA. And then later on, nikatoka, when I got born again, or I thought I got born again at that point, I went to, I won't mention the churches, but I went to a Pentecostal church.
Okay.
I went to a Pentecostal church and I did a lot of walking around to see, because I really wanted to know God. That was my intention.
There was a hole in your heart that was really thirsting for a relationship with God.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I got to a place I actually burnt out because of the work also I was doing at the same time, and my own particular wounds. And I had undertaken a project, because my project, I started it as a street program. I was dealing with the street mothers and their children at that time.
You pick the street mothers with their children?
Yes, I rehabilitate them.
You rehabilitate them?
Yes, at that particular point, yes.
And then you reintegrate them to the society?
Back to the society.
Wow.
So it was not easy. They are broken.
It has to be something passionate in your heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as I did that, I burnt out because I overexerted myself in the same. So coming now to church was all these wounds. I really wanted to know God, because all the solutions that had been given to me before
were not working,
and I had burdened wounds, and the wounds that I was crying every night. Mimi kitu ingefanya nilale vizuri, peaceful, lazima nilie. You know, just going back, you're this director, manager, but when you go back, your life comes back to you. Your wounds, your helplessness, your uselessness, and your self-unworthiness, self-hatred, they come back to you every night, and they haunt you, and you cry yourself to sleep every day, but you don't have a solution. So you pack them again.
And then during the day, you're smiling.
Oh, you kabati funga kabisa. Some of the things I just blocked them because they were too hard for me to handle.
Wow.
So coming into the church now, my intention was to find God, because I knew something in me knew that if I find God, I have a solution. But how do I find God? So I went to churches to find God.
Yeah.
But I never found him, actually.
Oh, you never found God where he is. Oh dear.
Where he's supposed to be.
Where he's supposed to be.
Right.
You never found him where he's supposed to be.
All I felt, there was a lot of condemnation, a lot of things that were taught to me that I did everything that I was taught how to do. I actually became a prophet at one point.
You now?
Me, I was a prophet.
Prophesy, woman of God. Prophesy. Wow.
I could prophesy and give you a word of knowledge, and they used to come true. So many of them.
But still that did not fill the void in your heart. You're still bleeding.
Yes.
Even with these prophetic unctions.
Yes. In fact, that religion only projected the wounds that I felt and made me feel guilty about them and condemned me about those things. So it never helped. It only exaggerated things.
Wow.
But now, having realized, I knew exactly that I was wounded, I was broken, but where is the solution?
That self-awareness is very important, that I'm bleeding, I need help.
Exactly.
And now I'm looking for help, but where is the help coming from?
I used to love songs by Casting Crowns.
Okay.
Because they sang what I was going through. There was this song about Stained Glass Masquerade. And he's singing like if the church was a hospital where people could just be free to talk about their situations and not be judged, but be helped. But nobody talks about those things. We all come with glass masquerades and pretend we are all okay.
But nobody is okay.
But nobody is okay. Everybody's just hurting and hiding their own bleeding pains and shame and all this manner of embarrassing stuff.
And then we vilify each other because you're hurting different than how I'm hurting.
Exactly.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus.
So it's just a place that we pretend to be okay. But it is a place that should be a safe space for people to come and heal.
Wow. So it's okay, my viewer. It's okay not to be okay. Let's unmask. Right. Let's remove this mask. How are you? It's good to see you. I'm happy to see you. Don't just say, I'm blessed, I'm going to heaven, and you are bleeding. Get somebody who you can talk to. But I hope you fall into the right spaces and the right hands. Because as you have heard from our guest, she really tried. See, religion does not fill any void. Jesus did not come to bring us religion. He is a king. He has a kingdom. He is demanding a relationship. So I hope you find a relationship with your maker. We are taking a short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about, did she find help? If yes, how do we heal from the wounds of the heart? I know this has been informative, so please don't touch that dial. See you in a bit.